everything's on the ground.
This is a sculpture that I did. This is sandstone, and there's a spot in Alabama where I go to, a secret spot. It's actually an iron foundry, and what this is the remnants of the stone. Actually comes from the remnants of the iron making process. So like maybe some people may have seen that glowing fire when it hits the floor. When it cools off, it turns into stone, which they call cores. But when it cools off, it's essentially what we call sandstone, and it's very easy to work with. And I just really have enjoyed working with sandstone and just the spiritual nature of stone and the ancient feel that you get when you're carving some stone, and you really allowing the stone again to speak to you and tell you what it's requesting, instead of you as the artist allowing your ego or whatever to come in and to create what you think should be created. So this piece is called Duality, and it's a relatively heavy piece, where I have one side with the awakened consciousness, which one in ancient Kemet may call Nahast, which refers to that enlightenment. And we have serpentine energy on the top of the head here, which represents the masculine and feminine energy and the duality of the hemispheres, which are in the brain. So you have left brain and right brain activity. And the other side is I guess you could say the side which represents ignorance or darkness, which is represented by the gentleman with the eyes closed. So, which is intense, we have duality. So the concept of an awakened state of consciousness and a state of closed consciousness. Okay, so and these are just paintings that are set forth for this section. Pieces that I'm working on. It's a series that I'm working on called The Bright Future, and there are a few concepts that I'm going to add to it that probably wouldn't be wise for me to disclose at this moment, just coming from the concept of artist creativity. But I guess you can kind of see where I am going with some of these pieces. But and this here is the Kemetic stool, which has the where I placed some tile on a wooden stool, and I decorated the tile with the meta nature, and it tells a story. So spiritual utterances, ancient writings from ancient Kemet, and this is something that's inspired from within, from the ancient spirit. When you do things from ancient, like I would say Kemetic writings, it's more of like a scribe, a very spiritual undertaking, to where you're doing something that's required of you from a spiritual level, and you totally take yourself and your ego away from it and just allow yourself to be used. And this is another one of the projects that I've been working on. I always have something going on, but tile boxes that we have. Now the box was not crafted by myself, but came here with some tile. I used my adhesive and grout. Just came up with a pattern, so it's something that I'm kind of feeling and allowing the energies and the ancestral spirits to work with me, and so it'll definitely be something more that I see we could be continuing to work on. These are other sculptures that we have here, and I mean, I know you all were there when I was first started to work on these, but again, stone sculpture is totally spiritual, and you allow the stone to speak to you, and just working the grind that you get from utilizing all your muscles and bringing forth that is very rewarding, to say the least. And this is another one guess you could call her the fire-breathing smoke goddess. She has her eyes closed in meditation, and her mouth is open, and she's emitting life force. And you see that we have a candle in there, and we put incense in the back, and it just comes up in there. And it's another one of those things, the shape of the stone, the shape of the core, called for that particular face. So, and another thing that we've worked on recently is wooden staffs. So this is one of the first staffs that I worked on, and this wood comes from a particular place where you can just purchase these 2x4s, and I just carve them down. And this is wood burn and stain, and I just came up with some different patterns, a leaf, a floral pattern, and this sort of Moroccan Moorish sort of pattern here with the gate, wood burns, and used a little gold and stain. But I just find it really interesting to carve and to shape things. Now this particular staff came from, it was actually growing through the fence out front, and you see this is a solid piece of wood, and this is the Kemetic staff, or the first Kemetic staff that I worked on, and it's the staff of Heru, and I have the mystery school eyes, and I have some Meta Nature script here on both sides coming here with the Egyptian motif, with the scales and the claws of Heru at the bottom. These are again, just like stone, things that actually speak to you and tell you what it requires to be crafted and designed. And one of the latest ones that I did, we're creating these staffs for goddesses, staffs that the goddesses can walk forth in. I found this to be a very interesting piece of wood because it was growing and there was kudzu wrapped around the vine, so which the kudzu obviously had a huge factor in creating this magnificent shape, and which allowed me to put the serpentine energy in here with inlay, with the inlay for the eyes. We fashioned this ankh out of clay, and after we put it in the kiln and fired it, it was decorated, and we inlaid the ankh within the wood, and we have a crystal at the top for the power of, well, we will understand the power of crystals and understanding the magnificent force that and the energies that exist within the crystals. One that knows how to harness the power of this could be a very this could be a very powerful staff, you know. And just like staffs are very ancient, from Kemet, from Africa, all various cultures, you know, throughout the Bible you find some of the great biblical patriarchs, and throughout ancient Kemet, Ptah, you know, he has his Ankawas Djed staff, but various of the staff is a very powerful tool, and it can be used in various manners. But just one brandishing or even having a staff, you know, it's a very powerful tool. I really enjoyed creating this goddess statue because, I mean, she was speaking to me the entire time. She's quite, I think, just in building it up, it's a very heavy stone, a pretty heavy stone, but in just building it up, it brought me some satisfaction because of I never did any sculpture of the human form before, and the goddess, or the form of the female, is obviously always a wonderful work of art, and again, the shape of the core was almost requiring it. So I just enjoyed working with it and essentially closing my eyes and feeling like, you know, like you want to reach around here and feel. But it's really a very powerful thing in understanding the contours and the shapes of the human form. I found it to be very interesting and challenging as well. And it was, being that it was one of my first pieces doing the human form, I found it to be something that that I knew definitely I wanted to continue to do, which I have another one up front. But these are things that when the stone begins to speak to you and you get into a groove, you can work through the night and you have no qualms about not eating or not taking breaks or anything. So this goddess with the Ankh necklace, the pregnant goddess bringing forth life. What the goddess does in this creation. Hotep.